Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first ACRE workshop. I'm Riccardo Bertoglio, and I will be the chairman of today's workshop. So I'm going to illustrate you the today's agenda. So first, we will have a brief introduction of the metrics project by Guillaume Avren. Then Matteo Matteucci will introduce us the ACRE competition. Then Michel Verduca will present the ACRE benchmarks, and then there will be the launch of the ACRE Cascade campaign by Matteo Matteucci. Also, at the end, we will have an open discussion about the ACRE challenge. And at the end of each presentation, you can participate to question and answer sessions by joining our Slido room. And also you can drop comments on YouTube or Facebook. So the first speaker of today is Guillaume Avren. Guillaume Avren is the head of the evaluation in artificial intelligence department at Laboratoire National de Métrologie et d'Essai, and he is the coordinator of the metrics project. Since 2017, Guillaume Avren has been in charge of the Artificial Intelligence Evaluation Department at LNE. He supervises a team of engineers and researchers that are working on the definition of evaluation protocols, metrics, and testing facilities for artificial intelligence and robotic systems. He coordinates various research projects on artificial intelligence evaluation, including the Horizon 2020 metrics project. And he also participates in standardization committees on artificial intelligence and robotics. So I'm going to leave the stage to Guillaume Avren.
So, thank you very much, Riccardo. Can you hear me well?
Yeah, sure.
Perfect.
So I can share your screen and you can start.
Perfect. Thank you very much for this kind introduction, and also thank you very much to all the organizer of this event. We know it's difficult at the moment to organize such kind of event, so thank you very much for this effort, and thank you very much to all the participants of this of today's workshop and of today's introductory presentation. So, as it was said, I'm Guillaume Avren, head of the department at LNE that is in charge of evaluating artificial intelligence system and robotic systems, and I'm also coordinator of the metrics project, which will be the focus of this introductory presentation. So the basic observation that is driving the metrics project is that there is a real need to evaluate AI and robotics technologies in order to bring the supply of such system closer to the demand, because we know that suppliers, equipment manufacturers are basically providing black box, sometimes non-convex, sometimes evolutive intelligence systems, whereas end users are looking for trustworthy and efficient functionalities. So there is a need for end users to be able to choose between the different technologies that are entering the market, to choose between them, to benchmark them with a reliable measurement of performances and so on, in order to be able to select the best solution for their system, their company. And for supplier of such intelligent system, there is a need for qualification, certification, assessment of such artificial intelligence and robotics technologies to improve the performances of the systems, to evaluate the maturity of these technologies before entering the market. So to drive the R&D effort. And so our idea in this metrics initiative is that thanks to competition, it's possible to foster innovation, to provide this common evaluation framework to satisfy the need for evaluation of the developers and end users of these intelligent technologies. So in this H2020 metrics project that started at the beginning of 2020, we are organizing 4 competition in 4 application areas that have been identified as a priority by the European Commission: healthcare, agri-food, inspection and maintenance, and agile production. And so today's workshop is about the agri-food, the ACRE competition. And the main objective of the project is to make sure that this robotics and AI competition are more than one-off demonstration. It means that we need reproducible experiment, repeatable measurement of performances. The evaluation protocols need to be based on metrological principles, and so on. So basically, the first step of this project is to define the evaluation framework based on these metrological tools, based on these common methodologies to evaluate artificial intelligence and robotic systems. The second step is to use this common evaluation framework to organize 4 different competitions in the 4 application areas. But we are going to do that to mobilize both the AI community and the robotics community in Europe. So we are going to organize evaluation campaign in AI and in robotics. The third step is to make sure that these evaluation campaigns, these evaluation protocols are relevant for the industry, and to make sure that there will be a take-up of these tools, these standards, these metrics, and so on by the industry. And to do that, we are going to collaborating with digital innovation hubs and external sponsors. And so this project is led by a consortium of 17 partners that has a huge experience in organizing such robotics and AI competition. So they have been involved in the SHIROC competition, for example, in ROCU2 project, ROCIN project, ROSE project. I mean, different kind of project related to the evaluation and benchmarking of intelligent systems, especially robotic systems. And there is also an advisory board with, for example, the National Institute of Standards and Technology in the US and the Queensland University of Technology in Australia. And also robotic stakeholder board of more than 10 members that are going to help us to make sure that these metrics competition are sustainable, that they will continue after the end of the metrics project. And so you will see that later during the workshop for the ACRE competition. But there is something that is very important and that is based on past experience of the partners that were organizing robotics competition, that we need to satisfy the evaluation needs of equipment manufacturers, integrators, and end users. We need to have task benchmark and functionality benchmark. So a task benchmark is basically a benchmark that is about a task that is useful on its own. So for example, to fetch for a glass of water. But to achieve this task, the robots need different functionalities. And so to evaluate these different functionalities that you can group together to achieve a task, you have also functionality benchmark. So for example, to fetch for a glass of water, the robot needs to understand the fetching orders, to detect obstacles, and so on. And so basically we are going to define, and we are defining for the dry run of the project that my colleagues for the ACRE competition are going to discuss later during the workshop. We are defining evaluation protocol and metric and so on for each different functionalities, and also one evaluation protocol and metrics for each task benchmark, so each task that the robot needs to achieve. And so this framework is for the 4 different robotics competition. So for example, the healthcare competition that is called EarthMet, this competition is about assistive robots. And so the task benchmark that are going to be considered are the assessment of the activity state, item delivery, area coverage, prepare drink, receive and transport drink. And for each of these different task benchmark, there is, of course, different functionalities that we are also going to evaluate. For the RAMI competition, which is about inspection and maintenance, we are going to evaluate inspection autonomous robots. There are 2 different paths in this competition. There is an underwater path with the evaluation of underwater robots for pipeline inspection and intervention. And there is also the aerial path with the punctual and repetitive evaluation of robotic systems in difficult access areas. For the ACRE competition, which is about agri-food, I'm not saying more now during this introductory presentation, because you will have all the detail later during the workshop. And for the ADAPT competition, which is about agile production, we are going to evaluate collaborative assembly robots with 2 different kind of task benchmark, collaborative programming and collaborative assembly. And so the second idea of this common evaluation framework, as I said, is that we want to be able to mobilize the AI community as well as the robotics community for this metrics competition. So to do that, what we are going to do is to first organize field evaluation campaign where that are dedicated to the robotics community, where we are going to evaluate the robots in operating fields in physical testing facilities. So you have, for example, in this slide, some testing facilities of our partners, of the metrics partners, that we are going to use for the field evaluation campaign. But the robots that are evaluated during this field evaluation campaign, they are going to generate data, raw data. And basically, we are going to annotate and to qualify this data set in order to set up testing data set that are going to be used during cascade evaluation campaign, data-based evaluation campaign that are dedicated to the AI community. So that between each field evaluation campaign, we are going to have one cascade evaluation campaign, so that we progress with AI, for example, for recognition task, for understanding task, and so on. We progress with AI, and with this progress, we can feed the robotic system that are operating in the field evaluation campaign. And so there are different steps for the organization of such metrics evaluation competition. The first step is to define the evaluation plan, the evaluation protocols, the metrics of each competition. So we finished this step some months ago, and you can find on the metrics website. You have the address at the bottom left of the slide. You can find the evaluation plan with the metrics and so on, the participation rules and so on for the 4 different metrics competition. Now we are at the dry run step. The dry run is about testing our evaluation protocol, our metrics. So we need to make sure that with these evaluation plans, we are really able to evaluate with metrological tools, with all the data set and the metrics and so on, we are able to quantify the performances of intelligent systems. So this is a step we are in, and then there will be 2 official evaluation campaigns, so that it's possible to measure also the progress of robotics and AI system across time during the metrics project, and it will allow us to evaluate the impact of the European fundings for this metrics project, and also the impact of the external sponsors fundings. So we need you have a graph here with an error rate. Let's say, for example, for a recognition task, we want to make sure that this error rate is going to decrease in 2021, 2022 during the metrics project, so that we are sure that the metrics competition were useful to improve the technology and to foster innovation. So how to get involved in this metrics competition? Well, you can do it as a participant. So what does it mean? It means that you can register your technological solution. It can be a robot for the field evaluation campaign. It can be an AI algorithm for the cascade evaluation campaigns. Why you should do that? Because thanks to this competition, you can take advantage free of charge of the evaluation tools made available by the metrics consortium to test your system, to evaluate the maturity of your system, to compare this maturity to the one of the other participants of this metrics competition, and to set up new collaborations. And how to do that? You can just contact the coordinator of the corresponding competition you are interested in. So, for example, for the ACRE competition, you just have to use this email address. And you can also be involved as a sponsor. So what does it mean? It means that you will help us drive the competition through sponsorship with a cash or in-kind contribution, as well as an involvement in the definition, the setting of the testing scenario, evaluation criteria, evaluation metrics, and so on. And why you should do that? Because it's a unique opportunity to shape the competition, the rules, the evaluation criteria, to make sure that they are relevant for your business current and future needs in AI and robotics. And how to do that? You just have to contact the metrics coordinator. You can use this email address, for example, or my email address, and we will make sure that you are able to participate to this metrics competition. And so, thank you very much for your attention during this introductory presentation. I really hope that you will be able to participate to this different competition. Thank you.
So thank you, Guillaume. So now we can see if there are some questions on our Slido room. So I remember that you can join our Slido room going on slido.do, and you have to put our event code ACRE. So let's see if there are some questions. Otherwise, you can participate to our live polls. And there is already a poll and some results. So the most of you are researchers in artificial intelligence and robotics. There are some producers of robots, machinery, and implements, and also some researchers in agronomy. So let's see if there are some questions. Okay, no questions so far.
And so, yes, I think I see a question. Can you hear me, Ricardo?
Yeah. They are asking if there are some limits on who can participate to the competition.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, everybody can participate to the competition. So it could be universities, it could be companies, but what we are looking for is really to have technologies that are able to achieve, or at least to try to achieve, the different task benchmark and functionality benchmark for the competition. So what is nice with the way we are organizing it is that you can choose some task benchmark and functionality benchmark that you want to participate in. You don't have to do everything, especially at the beginning during the dry run evaluation campaign or during the first official evaluation campaign. And then when you improve your technology, you can continue to participate to these metrics evaluation campaigns, and maybe why not developing additional functionalities to address the other task benchmark and functionality benchmark. But so the competitions are really open, and everybody can participate. Everybody is welcome.
Okay, so there is a comment on YouTube by Ben, and he is asking if we have an idea of the tests and crops, but this will be illustrated later during the session.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
So let's see if there are, okay, no. Yeah, we don't have any other questions, so we can go to the next speaker.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Guillaume. So the next speaker is Matteo Matteucci. Matteo Matteucci is Associate Professor at the Politecnico di Milano Artificial Intelligence and Robotics Laboratory. His research interests are in autonomous robots perception and machine learning, and he has been active in autonomous robot benchmarking since 2006, when he coordinated the Raw Seeds project. And since then, he has been partner in several EU-funded projects on robotics, competition, and benchmarking. Within the Metrics project, he is responsible for the Agri-food Competition for robot evaluation. So I give the stage to Matteo Matteucci.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your introduction. I think you can hear me now.
Yeah.
I would like to give you an overview of what is the ACRE competition, and I would like to start from his, let's say, original inception when we started looking at other experiences in agri-food competition, in particular the Rose Challenge, which has been which is ongoing this week in Montauk. As I said, this is an overview of the ACRE competition, because from now on we will focus also on the benchmark and on the cascade campaign that will be launched at the end of today's workshop. So the ACRE competition is focused on the agri-food domain and is one of the competition that we will be launched within the Metrics project. And the main focus is on autonomous weeding robots to become an alternative to the use of chemical products in the agri-food domain. Four main partners are involved in the ACRE competition: Politecnico di Milano, INRAE, Università di Studi di Milano, LME, and you will see this partner presenting today. We are in charge of the smooth running of the competition, and we are in charge of interacting with the stakeholder of the competition. I will come back to this point later on. So I was saying that the ACRE competition was inspired by a project which is ongoing, which is the Challenge Rose, where intra-row weeding was seen as a challenge to be solved to improve the production and let's say use of robots and robotic devices in the agri-food domain. Here you can see the four participants to the Challenge Rose, and I would like you to watch a few minutes of the video that was shot by the national French TV on the competition. It is in French, but you have English subtitle, and I will come back to it after a few minutes.
C'est un nouveau rendez-vous sur France 3 à 18h53. On va aller dans les laboratoires de recherche en Auvergne, rencontrer les chercheurs, savoir quelles sont leurs hypothèses, les travaux et leurs découvertes pour comprendre comment elles peuvent éclairer, orienter notre quotidien aujourd'hui. Et regardez, nous sommes dans l'Allier à Montoldre. Derrière moi, ça ressemble à une ferme, mais c'est un centre expérimental. Ici, on prépare l'agriculture de demain. On va parler d'agriculture numérique en s'intéressant à des robots désherbeurs.
Tu veux le calibrer? On est bon.
Éliminer les mauvaises herbes, c'est facile pour l'être humain qui sait s'adapter à toutes les situations. Mais pour les machines, c'est vraiment difficile.
On va lancer ça. C'est parfait. Et ben on y va.
Pour rendre ces robots autonomes, il faut leur fabriquer un cerveau artificiel pour voir, décider et agir. Ce qu'on ne voit pas, c'est que là-dessous, il y a une caméra qui est en train de regarder les plans.
Tout à fait. Une caméra qui regarde les plans avec un éclairage contrôlé et un ordinateur qui, en temps réel, interprète les images pour détecter automatiquement les cultures. Les outils récents d'intelligence artificielle nous permettent de débloquer des situations où coder des algorithmes, déterminer des règles pour reconnaître tel ou tel objet devient difficile.
Ils sont chercheurs à Bordeaux, Poitiers ou Dijon et industriels à Nantes ou Clermont-Ferrand. Ils ont constitué 4 équipes de très haut niveau en robotique et en agronomie. La première étape, apprendre à reconnaître.
On commence par repérer les haricots, donc les plantes d'intérêt avec des pastilles bleues. Et puis ensuite, on identifie les 3 adventices avec des pastilles jaunes. Les algorithmes de traitement d'image, c'est souvent de l'image qui sont utilisés, ont encore du mal à distinguer les plantes, surtout quand vous avez une feuille par exemple de haricots qui risque de recouvrir une petite adventice. Donc il faut avoir plusieurs angles de vue et arriver à identifier l'une par rapport à l'autre.
Dans ce champ,
So as you've seen from the video, 4 teams have been involved in the Rose Challenge, but we wanted to set the bar higher than what you've seen. So we have designed the ACRE Challenge to provide more or to exploit more capabilities of robots. We still look into robot perception, where we would like to benchmark robots into plant weed discrimination or leaf biomass estimation, and possibly many other. We would like to challenge robot into robot navigation. So we would like to see robot navigating autonomously in the field, mapping the crops, identifying weeds and plants. And we would like to see more the performance of actuation, particularly in terms of weed destruction or autonomous weeding, which is a task of reaching the field, looking at the plants that should be preserved, looking at the weed to destroy, and then act accordingly. Now, you see many dots over there. What does it mean? It means that this is what we have designed for the first ACRE challenge. Indeed, there will be 2 ACRE challenges, one in 2021 and one in 2022, and we would like to shape these challenges together with stakeholders, which means companies and participants, so to have a better match between what we can benchmark and what, let's say, participants can be provided. So I will come back to this as a last slide, asking for the involvement of the community. So we will organize one dry run campaign, which is running right now in Montauld. There will be 2 field campaigns and 3 cascade campaigns based on the field campaign data acquired in the physical campaign. So the field campaigns are performed physically. They are open to public and, well, they involve robots. The first one has been moved because the recent COVID situation, and the dry run is right now ongoing in Montauld. The next field campaign will be next June, again in Montauld, and the second field campaign will happen in May in Italy. Now, during this campaign, we are going to collect data, and this data will be used to develop more competitions, which are data-based AI or robotics competition, which happens online. And today we are going to launch the first campaign based on data that were acquired by the Rose Challenge teams. There will be a second cascade campaign, which is the first official of the ACRE project, and a second cascade campaign in September 2021 and September 2022. As I said, the first campaign will be Montauld. Montauld is in France. my colleague Michel will describe the location better than me in the next talk, and the benchmarks of ACRE will be performed with real robot and smart implements. Indeed, we allow also the participation of smart implement and not only robots in the strict sense. This is the first competition, but we are open to modify it in order to accomplish the need of other possible participants, and this will mostly happen in the second campaign. Although in the first campaign we will try to accommodate possibly requests for additional conditions. Indeed, the second campaign will be in Italy. The place is called Cornaredo and is a research facility of our colleague from University of Milano. During this second ACRE field campaign, we would like to extend the type of crops, keeping bean and maize again, but maybe adding some salad or zucchini or other culture, well, not more than 2, 3, or 4, but we would like to decide this interacting with the participants or with companies or with, let's say, stakeholders which might want to test and benchmark the state of the art in autonomous weeding with different kind of weeds. And here are some example of the weeds that we might place and control during the realization of the testbed, and let's say weeds that you as participants will have to deal with during the competition. So what about the cascade campaign? As I mentioned before, the cascade campaign are based on datasets, and these datasets are collected during the field campaign. They are targeted to the robotics community and the AI community. Indeed, many tools of artificial intelligence can nowadays be used in activities such as plant discrimination, leaf area estimation, biomass estimation, crop mapping. Now, the first cascade campaign will be on plant discrimination, and it will be launched today in maybe half an hour or something more. And it is based on one of the functional benchmark that will be executed physically in the first campaign, physical campaign. This campaign is based on the data acquired by the teams of the Rose Challenge. I won't go into detail now because I will have plenty of time to discuss about this competition. One important thing that is that we expect the audience, that means the people that might be interested in this, to be larger than strictly the robotics and agri-food community, as the agri-food domain poses relevant challenges from a research perspective to AI and researcher in pattern recognition. So how to become part of it? First of all, as a competing team. As a competing team, what you could do is to help us in shaping the competition. Every time you see 3 dots in my presentation, it means that you can say something about that. What does it mean? You might provide us suggestion, you might provide hint, and you might ask for explanation. I have a kind of an experience in, let's say, building and organizing a robotic competition, and I know that teams always find the more subtle issues in the rule books, and that's why we would like to engage with you as soon as possible. Then participate with a robot to the field benchmark and come to Montautre, come to Cornaredo and show off your algorithms, or participate to online and cascade campaigns by showing how good you are in AI and pattern recognition. What I would like also to show is that you could participate as a dataset provider. So the dataset we are going to use for the cascade campaign will be collected during the physical ACRE competition by teams and by us. But in case you have a relevant dataset, you would like us to design an online cascade campaign based on that, I mean, why not doing that? I mean, the final aim of Matrix and ACRE is to foster the match between the available tools and the need in the agri-food domain. And if we could help in match the two, we'll be more than happy, and I think that the project will be fully successful. Then Guillaume has already mentioned the fact that you could participate as a sponsor. As a sponsor, you could support the organization of a specific benchmark. So if you think that it would be nice to have a benchmark that we haven't thought about, or we haven't had yet the opportunity to set up, you can engage with us and we might organize this together. You could support team participation and travels, because as a youth-funded project, basically not all the team can get funding, and the sponsoring from the European Commission is based on the setup of the infrastructure. So the team need to participate on their budget. Especially student teams and teams of small research group, they do not often have the opportunity to show how good is the research that happens in their lab. And I think that we should try to foster the wider participation to have a very large democratizing of this kind of competition. And then you can sponsor prizes and collateral events during the competition. We would like to make them events and not just a competition where a few roboticists met together and show their robots out of the lab like a scientific conference. We would like to engage with public. We would like to have collateral events with speech and workshops similar to this one. We would like to engage with public authorities. So feel free to engage with us, and let's see what we can do together to make the ACRE project big together. And if you feel to be a stakeholder of this project that I haven't considered within this slide, contact us. I mean, as you see in a minute, I will give you the email address of the ACRE competition. If you have something to say and if you want to propose something, please do not hesitate. We will take into account and we'll engage together, and we might even think about events or activities which we haven't thought about when designing the ACRE competition. Okay, what's next? First of all, we want to hear from you. You can drop a question right now, or you can just send an email to our email address. Then we are going to give a presentation of the competition as FIRE in December. So if you happen to attend that conference, you will see me presenting advances and the feedback that you gave to us. We expect to have another workshop, the second one, most likely in February 2021, where we will launch officially the first field campaign of June, and we will have again a follow-up of consultation after this workshop, then the campaign in Montauld, and in September the next cascade campaign. So here are our references. You get the email of the ACRE project. Drop us a message so we can engage together. You registered for the workshop. So if you registered for the workshop, we have your email address, and if you have asked us to keep you updated, we will update you. In case, you can check the Matrix website. So the Matrix website, you see the link over here, has a session on the agri-food domain competition, and we will update about what's going on over there. So that's all for my talk. If there are questions, I will be more than happy to answer.
Thank you, Matteo. Let's see if there are some questions. I remember you that there is a new poll on Slido. This time we are asking you, how do you see yourself in ACRE, as a participant or as a spectator or as a sponsor or other? So we'll see the results later. So now let's see if there are some questions on Slido. for some comments on Facebook or YouTube. So it seems for now that there are no questions.
No problem. I mean, I will.
Yeah, I see people that are participating to our live poll. So maybe.
So anyway, I will appear again online in more or less half an hour. So there will be time to answer, to discuss. One thing that I would like to do is to thank all the participants for waking up on a Saturday morning to attend the workshop and to engage with us. And this workshop will be recorded and provided as a recording. So in case some of your colleagues and friends would have missed it, they will be able offline to watch. Okay, thank you, Ricardo, for let me talk about this competition.
Thank you, Matteo. So most of the people are participants, and then we have some spectators. We'll see how the results will update during the workshop. So the next speaker is Michel Berduca. So Michel Berduca is a senior research engineer. Currently, he is deputy head of the Technologies and Information Systems for Agrosystems Research Unit of INRAE at Clermont-Ferrand, France. The main activities of his research unit are related to development of mobility technologies for agri-environmental machines. And also, he is devoted to development of new communication and data management systems and new technologies for spreading applications like organic and mineral materials. So I will leave the stage to Michel Berduca. So Michel, can you hear us?
Okay, Ricardo, it's okay? You hear me?
Now I'm sharing your presentation and we can see it full screen. And just maybe remove the bottom banner so we can see we don't have any disturb. Perfect. So you can start.
Okay?
Yeah.
You have my presentation, the first slide. So thank you, Ricardo. It's my pleasure. Good morning to everybody. I would like to associate my colleague Daniel Bofti from my research unit of INRAE, which has contributed to the preparation to prepare this presentation. And Daniel is the chief of the project for INRAE about ROSE challenge execution and now metric ACRE challenge. Thanks also to Unimi and Helleni colleague under the coordination of Polymi for the construction of the field ACRE benchmark that I am going to try to present. And yes, during the video you show IRSTEA and now INRAE, so perhaps you have identified that INRA and IRSTEA has merged at the beginning of this year, and now the new name is INRAE. Okay, so from the upper part of my presentation, you see an overview, a picture of INRAE field experiment at Montoldre. Montoldre is a small village in the center of France, 80 kilometers far from the north of Clermont-Ferrand city. And this field experiment is used for the ROSE challenge and now for Metrix ACRE challenge. You see that we have not a big area of crops, okay, of many and many hectares. It is just some bands, okay, with 2 or 3 rows of plant dedicated to each challenge team and competitor teams. And we consider for the evaluation of the system that it is better to do well the job on small area with higher accuracy investigation and control methods, and not the necessity to have a lot of areas for this evaluation. Of course, in the future, if a challenger participant have largest width machine, we will expand and adapt the width of the
Sorry,
band.
Michel.
Yes. Yeah.
Are you changing the slides or are you still on the first slide?
No, it's okay. I am always on the first slide.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry,
okay.
just to check that all is working. Sorry,
Yes,
sorry for the
I try
interruption.
to give some information just on the first slide. Okay,
Sorry for the interruption.
Don't panic, be quiet. And what I want to say is that we will have the possibility to extend the width of the bands, taking into account the width of the machine, and it will be adapted very easily in function of the needs of the participant. Right, perhaps we come back on this aspect during the discussion or some question about that. So now I go to some definition about benchmark. So as introduced by Guillaume and precise by Matteo, we have two kinds of benchmark. The first one are named our functionality benchmark. So it is basic functionality and functionality. It's a basic functionality, elementary functionality, which contribute to the whole integrating solution. And to the difference of the task benchmark, TBM, TBM, it is the association of several functionality benchmark, minus two, okay, in order to make a complex action. FBM and TBM, functionality benchmark, and TBM task benchmark, we are going to see more in detail just after, concern both robotic solution, okay, so autonomous mobile platform with a peripheral intelligence device, right? But also, ACRE challenge is open to a smart implement solution. That means typically a smart hoeing machine embedded in front of or the rear of agricultural tractor or other vehicles, and the tractor and the vehicles can be guidance with or without GPS and so on. So you see that we integrate both robotic solution but also smart implement solution. I think it is very important to underline this aspect. Another point is that it is, we have to also to mention that robotic solution and smart implement solution can be a different level of in the technology readiness level, TRL, that everybody knows now. And it will be very interesting to welcome some prototype, okay, proof of concept, but also some early semi-commercial solution, and also some market solution in penetration of the market, and why not maturity machine. So you see that it is very open. ACRE challenge, as mentioned by Matteo, is addressed to researchers, manufacturers of machine companies, suppliers of subsystems, in terms of sensor, decision system, welding actuators, and so on. And also we can have a consortium involving both researchers and private company. It's also to the decision of the participant. So now in this part, I am going to focus on the 5 functionality benchmark that we propose. And you have the name, the plant discrimination, leaf area estimation, biomass estimation, weed destruction, and field navigation. And we are going to put focus on each of them now. So the first functionality benchmark named plant discrimination. What is the aim? What is the goal? It is to being able to differentiate crops. Okay, crops in this line, okay, from weeds, and weeds can be in the inter-row or in the intra-row, and okay, it's very interesting to discriminate and to extract the weeds in the inter-row, but the challenge, the more important challenge, is to be able to detect weeds in the intra-row, in the row. Okay, so about the evaluation method, how does it work? So we ask to the participant to realize, to carry out their data acquisition. Okay, data acquisition by the challenge team, and they can use what they want of sensor. It is their own sensor they decided. Okay, it could be a camera, it could be hyperspectral camera, it could be other sensor like range finder, laser range changer, or also a fusion of merging of various sensors. So the image after compute by the challenger team in their automatic detection process, and in the same time, the organizer will ask to the challenger team to put to the disposal of the organizer of their panel of their images, and this one are going to label and to extract manually the outline of the plant, of the leaves, and also after to put some label on each type of the plants. So about crop, about weeds, and so on. So Matteo, we have the proof that we are working together because we have the same illustration. Okay, it was just a joke. And what I want to mention that after it's for this second part about manual labelization, it's a good idea to work with University of Milan, and with a lot of students, because it could be very interesting. It is a heavy function to be able to put the label on the different data. Okay, so we can use also the Diane software from Helene in order to make this labeling phase. With, in parallel with the automatic detection process by the challenger team and the manual labelization, we are able to make the comparison and to have an error rate calculation about the plant discrimination mapping about crops, plant of interest, and also type of weeds. Okay, so it is the proposal method about the evaluation. The second functionality benchmark is named leaf area estimation. So the goal is to estimate the leaf area of plants along the row, okay? And it's always the same principle. So data acquisition are carried out by the challenger team. They after use their automatic detection process, okay? And in parallel, we are going to obtain reference by, for example, taking some physical sample in the field and use this kind of Xerox machine to extract the leaf area, but also to have the possibility to complete the Diane software from Helene to extract the leaf area. So we have to discuss, because it's always a challenge for the organizers, and we have also to talk with competitors' team in order to know if they share, if they agree about our reference that we consider and the method that we are going to use to compare the data. So the same thing about the comparison of the final result about the leaf area estimate by the challenger team, and after the reference given by the challenge organizer. I think it is quite clear for everybody, but we will discuss during the discussion. The third functionality benchmark concerns the biomass estimation. So now we are more in the 3D dimension, okay? And the goal is to estimate the crop biomass in global, okay? Weeds and crops, plant of interest, but we can also decide to separate weeds and plants. So same method, data acquisition made by the challenger team. Automatic detection process. Well, for the illustration, it is not the good, perhaps the best images, but okay. And in the same times, we can use some classical approach about sample taking and, for example, weighting the materials. But we have also the possibility to use a high accurate 3D laser system from INRAE, and in 2 or 3 minutes we grab the scene, and after we are able to extract the biomass information. So after comparison between biomass mapping and error rate calculation. The fourth functionality benchmark is weed destruction. So the idea is to destroy weeds in the row without damage the crops, of course, and the evaluation in the intra-row area before and after the weeding process. And for this basic functionality, we are going to use artificial visual marker. And why it's to be more independent from other functionality benchmark, for example, the plant discrimination FBM. And the idea is to have to simplify the perception and the decision algorithm level. So and the idea in this FBM with destruction is to qualify the action, okay, the actuator tools. So that's why we reduce the complexity for the acquisition and decision part. So evaluation method, so we put some marker, for example, yellow markers for weeds and blue for plant of interest. Here it's a bean, and in this case it is maize. And we ask to the team to detect and to destroy the marker, okay, with mechanical approach, but also after we can have some sensitive chip on the top in order if participants use other destruction system without contact, for example, with laser, with electrocution, so it will be possible. And in the same time, the challenger organizer carried out some manual counting, okay, with a reference, and we have a protocol for that we have developed, and thanks to the ROSE challenge experiment. And the final, the comparison between the weeding performance and also the possibility to eliminate the weeds with materialized by the yellow marker, but also to preserve, it's a good idea for the end user, for the agriculture in the future, to preserve the crop. Okay, so we put some notes about the weeding performance, but also we have also note about the level scale about the performance for the preservation of the crop. So after we have error rate calculation, right? And the last functionality benchmark about field navigation, it's only for robotic solution. Okay, the idea is to test the performances of the navigation system of the robot. So, for example, we propose this kind of scenario, but of course we can after improve with all together with all the participants. And for example, you have first 2 steps that are proposed here. The first step is the possibility that to launch the machine in the straight line. Okay, you do an half turn and you come back also in a straight line, and without using the implement, because it is a functionality benchmark. Okay, so just the movement of the platform. And we are going to record the speed, the yield of the machine during the execution of the row, during the execution of the half turn. Okay, and in the second step, we can have also this kind of scenario, a straight line, and you come back with a S line like that. Okay, you see that we tested during this week, last week, in the dry run of metrics, in order to be able to test this implantation of the crop. Right. So just about evaluation method. So we are going to use laser tracker, a very accurate system, in order to be able to characterize and to measure the position of the machine. We don't want to use kinematic GPS or something like that. We want to use a better system in order to have a high accuracy. And the idea also during the execution of the trajectory, once again without action of the implement, we are going to see that we preserve the plans during the execution of the mission. And have a look also on the working spin measurement. It could be also important to the end about for the end user, taking also into account the width of the machine. Sorry. The second family about benchmark is task benchmark. So we have two task benchmark. The first one is intra-row weighting. The second one is crop mapping. So about intra-row weighting, the idea is to perform fully autonomous intra-row weighting on a row crop. So it could be for robotic solution, but also for smart implement solution. Okay, it is very also important to mention that. And okay, the machine is do the job. Okay. And with a complex, it's a complex task because we associate both plant discrimination, decision, and after action. And we measure the organizer characterize the performance about the weed destruction performance in the row, the plant preservation in the row, and we can also have a look about the speed execution and the some energetic criteria. The second task benchmark is named crop mapping. So the aim is to produce a field map of the crop in a significant field area, okay, by autonomous exploring of the solution of the participants. So with a sensor embedded on their platform, autonomous or not. And okay, it is this kind of coedition. Donc you have here the field. Experimental field, you are going to estimate the map by the estimated map by the challenger team in a significant area. Okay. In parallel, organizer built ground truth map. Okay. And after, we will compare the map alignment or disalignment, and we will propose metrics to quantify the error. Right, it's just finished now in the two last slides. Some rules for field ACRE challenger teams. So in order to participate to the field ACRE challenge, you are not obliged to do all the functionality benchmark and all the task benchmark. You have to choose at least between two functionality benchmark. So I repeat again the five functionality benchmark for the moment. Okay, and you have to select one task benchmark. So for example, if Rose challenger want to participate to the metric challenge, they correspond to the rules because they make the plant discrimination today and the weed destruction. So they do that, and after they, of course, they do the intra-row weighting. But metrics and ACRE is is more open because you are not obliged to propose a solution in order to eliminate the weeds in the row, and you can come and participate to the ACRE challenge. Just for example, to build and be able to build the crop mapping. So I think it is very important and interesting to play with all this possibility. It's very modulable, it's very open, it's very flexible. The first rule part of the ACRE field campaign are in the evaluation plan. Perhaps some of you are going to have put a glance in our website, and you can have the first version of the document describing the evaluation plan. And it's open. If needed, additional TBM or FBM can be added in a constructive manner between challenger team and challenger organizer. It could be, but okay, we have to talk about that and see that if it is relevant or not for the challenge. And we have to decide together, taking into account that we want to work in a good state of mind and between organizer and competitors, and it is in the approach of win-win of all involved actors in order to build this competition. For example, about co-competition, the word means it's not competition, it's competition's cooperation in the same time that we have a sort of competition, but it's a possibility to work all together and perhaps to share if the participants decide to share some data, but they can if they want or not, they have to decide. And for example, if organizer labels some image and the team say, okay, I can share with other, it could be interesting, for example, for their algorithm of learning to facilitate the learning phase of the artificial intelligence algorithm. So we have also to discuss, and perhaps we hope during the appointment of February for the new workshop mentioned by Matteo. Right, the last slide. Sorry for the duration of my talk. It's to mention the possibility to welcome you and during the next year at Monteldre, okay, but in the spring, June, donc in Monteldre in next year, and in 2022 at Cornaredo, donc place of Unimi University close to Milan. And it's very important to build this. It could be very interesting to build this challenge all together for all the community, and to have a large dissemination of the result. And it is important to promote the solution for all the actors, and the possibility to invite end user, media, and so on during some appointment that we will decide together. Okay, so I finish my presentation, and thanks again to all the participants.
Thank you, Michel. There are some questions for you. Okay, there is a comment on YouTube from Ben, and it's about, here it is. He's asking about identification, if it is a single stage process, or if it could be a two-stage approach. Because then Ben said that, for example, they have a classification system using one robot, and then they have a targeting system on another robot. So I think we don't prevent the use of two robots. What do you think, Michel?
Yeah, I think that it is flexible and open, and if the participant, one challenger, use two platform in order to make sequential the two phase of the work, it could be possible. But okay, it's not today to decide, and we have to discuss more together in the next weeks. If you want, and you are welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is another question. Can machines that are not robots participate to ACRE?
Yeah, so I see that my English is very poor and not very clear, but no, but that's right. That beginning I explained, and it was the second part, the second slide, that the challenge, ACRE challenge, is open to robots, but also to smart implement machine which are not robots. And if you have, for example, a machine which are to the rear of a tractor, but which are able to detect and to eliminate, for example, the weeds in the row, you are welcome, and this challenge is also for you. And if you have not actual system to limit weeds, you can also click on the TBM name crop mapping, and it's also a possibility to promote the innovation and the development for the end user in term. So it is very important. This kind of challenge is to be able altogether to give a new solution to the European farmers.
Okay, thank you, Michel. We have,
just yes, yeah. I can also say, yeah. Perhaps I can say, because no, I stop. We will come back perhaps during the discussion. I can mention one or two more aspects.
Yeah, sure. So the last question is if the leaf area estimation is the sum of all leaf surfaces or the projected leaf area.
Yeah.
From our evaluation plan, we had decided that it should be the sum of all leaf surfaces.
It's a good question, but I am not going to develop this morning, because when we talk, it is very easy to talk of leaf area estimation, okay? But after, when we open the box, we can discuss, I think, during all the days about that. So take care. We will come back with all the potential participant, and also with the organizer, to well define what is the definition of leaf area, okay, where it begins and where it is the end, and also to have the agreement of participant, of challenger, that our reference will be okay for everyone. Okay, so it's also a good, an important point to consider in the next months, in the next weeks.
Yeah, thank you, Michel. Also, I remember to the participant that they can find that information on the evaluation plan on the metrics website, and yeah.
Yeah, I see a question, Ricardo, about concerning the
question. Yeah, concerning the test dataset, how many angles of views are there?
Yeah, but it's, in fact, it is it is to the participant to decide if what are the point of view of their sensor, if they are perpendicular to the soil or not. Okay, and it is the participant who decide what sensors they are going to use, and what will be the position in their robot or in their smart implement.
Yeah, also we will show some example of images of past data set that we collected in rows, right, Michel?
Sure.
Yeah, okay. Are there other questions? Let's see. I think no. So we can leave the stage to the next speaker. Yeah, thank you, Michel.
Thank you.
See you later. So the next speaker is again Matteo Matteucci, that will introduce the Cascade campaign. Here you are, Matteo. Can you hear us? Are you muted? So Matteo, you have to.
Yes, sorry, I was muted.
these days probably is one of the 5 most used sentences. Are you muted? Are you there? Can you hear me? I mean, so thank you very much. I'm in this presentation. I would like to discuss the first competition, which is starting right now. I mean, not now, but this weekend, and you will be able to register right after the workshop. So as I mentioned at the main talk, there will be physical campaign where you come with your robot on the field, and there will be more digital campaigns where you will use the data to perform mainly AI tasks, but also robotics tasks like SLAM and mapping. At the beginning of this presentation, I would like to thank Francesco Lattari and Riccardo Bertoglio, who are handling the competition. I will be the presenter, but they should have deserved that. But as you can guess, Riccardo is very busy in handling and chairing this workshop, so I should thank him as well. So what is the first cascade campaign? Well, the first cascade campaign is about automatic weed recognition. So among the different functional benchmark and tasks, we decided to start with this one in order to allow you to get practice with the task, with the functional benchmark, and also because this is the first step of autonomous weeding, being able to detect where the weeds are, where the plants are. And the interesting part is that we want you to detect both the plants and the weeds. So you could have like treatment in a very precise, either whether you use pesticides or mechanical or electrical weeding. I mean, this is one of the cascade competition that will be launched during the project, and we will also explore other tasks which could be developed based on a data set. So as I mentioned, the data set that we are going to use for this competition was collected during the ROSE challenge. So basically the data have been collected by the different robots that were and are participating into the challenge ROSE. And because of this, you will see different approaches with the detection. And let me rejoin with one of the questions that we got a few minutes ago about whether we will have different view angles. Well, the answer is yes. And indeed, we would like to exploit the fact that different teams have approached the problem with different cameras, different views, and with different, let's say, resolution of images. As you will see, the data set will be composed actually by 4 different data sets, which basically align with the 4 different teams in the ROSE challenge. So you will see BBIP, PID, Rousseau, and Widelec as a name of the data set, and here you see a sample of each of them. What is very interesting and challenging is that they use very different angles, resolution, lighting condition, and what we would like to do is that you try to challenge them all. I will come back to a minute. We will have you to basically try to use them all, but obviously we will keep different leaderboard for each of the data set. So you can even decide to specialize on only one of these. The reason for specializing is because basically you feel your system is more close to one of these point of views. 2 crops, haricot and maize, and these are kind of different, and so we would like you to be able to perform on both of them. And at the end, what you will have in terms of images for each team, for each crop, you will have 90 training images already labeled, 15 test images that will be used in the development phase. And then the final rank will be done on 20 images released at the end of the competition. I will explain this 2-stage approach in a few minutes, don't worry. So what are the challenges? Well, the goal, as you can guess, is the goal of image segmentation. Image segmentation means to being able for each pixel to detect whether it is crop, width, or background. This is a very interesting task. It's a very, let's say, common to have this kind of task in the AI community. What make the challenge difficult for nowadays algorithm is the fact that we have a high imbalance of classes, but this is known. Limited data, because we know that we don't have 10,000 images to train your algorithm, but that's what happens. I mean, you cannot expect to have 10,000 images. What you would like to do is to be able to tune and fine-tune your algorithm with a few samples from the field. And we have a significant covariance shift. It means that if you want your algorithm to be able to work in all different conditions, what you will see that you will have to face different lighting condition or other differences. So I think that it is an interesting challenge from a scientific perspective, and those dots are because there might be challenges that we didn't thought about, and you will figure out while performing the test. So how are we going to evaluate the performance? Well, the evaluation is rather standard. What we will do, we will compute the so-called intersection over union. What does it mean is that we will check for each of the class how many pixels of the class you have found out of the pixels that are in the image for that class, and we will penalize for false positive. We know that in some sense the weed recall is more important than the plant recall, in a sense that if you miss a weed, you're not going to remove it, while since you don't have to have an action on the plant, it might happen that nothing happens. But we would like to have a general and robust framework, so we are going to check both of them, the plants, the crops, and the weeds. So it is a two-stage competition. What does it mean? It means that there will be a development stage where you will be provided images and masks for training. The masks will provided only for training, but for the test you will have just images. Then you will submit your solution with the predicted mask on the test images, and the leaderboard will be updated. We have a multiple leaderboard, most likely one per team, so we can let participants to focus on one specific lighting and shooting condition and not necessarily to deal with all of them. Once you have developed the model and once you have developed your classifier, and you will have a feedback from us on the leaderboard, we will start the second stage. In the second stage, we give you more data. These more data are the masks of the development data that you were working during the development stage. So we give you also the masks for the test data, so you will have more than 100 images to train your algorithm upon. And we will ask you to submit the result on new images. In this case, the new images will not be, sorry, the leaderboard will not be updated. It means that it will be a single shot stage. You provide your best guess with these images, and the final score will be made on these images. This is also to, let's say, not let team to overfit by trying multiple times. So the leaderboard, which is updated regularly, is a development leaderboard, is done to give you a feedback, but the final ranking will be on a different set of images that we will provide you at the end. The final leaderboard, which is the, let's say, top 10, will be shown on the website. If you don't want to appear on that, we have an opt-out option. So you say, okay, I don't want to show in the leaderboard, so you can opt out. And we are going to check the top 3 winners of each category. What does it mean? It means that before we publish the rank, we will ask the top 10 team to provide us their solution, so we can verify the solution. You can provide us code, software, Docker, whatever allows us to repeat your result. As Guillaume was saying at the very beginning, this is a benchmarking project, so we would like to have repeatability of result, which means that at least for the top 3 winners of each category, we need to replicate their solution. But I don't see any problem on that. If you don't want to give us anything, again, you have an opt-out option. Why I'm talking about this? I think that one of the goals of the, let's say, ACRE competition is benchmarking, where benchmarking could be a public benchmarking, or you, as a research lab, compare your results against the other. And this is a personal feedback. So if you just want to know how good you are, and this is for you, I mean, if you are a company, this can be easily understood. We don't, let's say, are against this. All these terms and condition rules are in the competition page under the terms and conditions. You will see that there is no hidden catch over there. Results are yours. We don't want your code. Even the code that you will provide for the check-in will be and remain yours. We are very cautious of intellectual properties and all these things. So if you need, we will sign an NDA for the verification phase. Another important thing is that everything will remain you except the numbers, because being a public funded project, we will need to report the research community what is the current stage, and then we need to report the numbers, not the teams, but the numbers in this particular task. I've been talking about categories, yes, because there will be multiple criteria to select the winners of this competition. The first is the overall winner, which is the winner of the ACRE first cascade campaign, and is the one that performs the best on everything. So teams, which means lighting conditions, or let's say crops and so on. But we know that because of your interest or because of your focus, you might just want to focus on a specific kind of crop. For this cascade competition, we have only haricot and maize, but for future cascade campaign, we might decide to add specific data sets, even not putting them in the competition. What we might decide to build a specific competition for a specific crop, and then award the teams for the best classification on that specific crop. And as I was mentioning, we would like to award also teams which focus on one specific team dataset among the ones which are provided by the competition. So what is the timeline? Well, now we start in the sense that this is the official launch of the competition. Stage 1, that is the stage where you will provide it with a training data set and a test set for development, will last until the 22 of, sorry, there is a typo over there, 22 of January 2020, January, no, sorry, right, 22, sorry, will last until the 15th of January. Stage 2 will last between the 15th of January until the 22nd of January, sorry, not February. The results will be out at the end of January. We take 1 week to put the results out because of the verification phase, because once we give the award, we want to be sure that everything was okay. And if someone opt out, we will go down and select the next in the row to give the award. The awards will be given during the second ACRE workshop, which will be most likely in February. I already mentioned that. During the next workshop, we will most likely present the first cascade campaign and award the participant to the cascade campaign. I would like, that's my personal will, to have the participant to talk about the cascade campaign. So this time, this is the first workshop where we are introducing the competition to the possible stakeholder. We are just a few of us, but next time I would like to have a larger set of presenters and possibly some of you presenting in this occasion. Okay, how to participate? That might be the most important thing of today. If you are launching the competition, well, just apply for the competition using a registration form. You can participate as alone, so as a single person, or in a team. So on the website, we are using CodaLab for hosting the competition. You register your team, and then when you fill the form, you add all the participants to that team. So here you see that there is a participate tab on the CodaLab website where you can register your team. There is no deadline for registering a team. I mean, it means that you don't need to register now. Maybe you want to look at the terms and conditions. You might want to ask details before registering the team. Feel free. I will be more than happy to answer your question and discuss what might be your doubts about the competition. Last but not least, the link. This is the link to the registration form, and there is also the link to the competition webpage. So if you go on the competition webpage, you will find our competition hosted by the CodaLab, and you will be able to register for participation. Okay, I think that's all from my side. I will leave this slide on, so if someone wants to get the idea of the competition, which is 27176, and if you want to have already to register for this, you can give a shot to the QR code. Okay, thank you very much. I'll be here for question and for any doubts might come to your mind.
Sure, indeed, we have already a question for you from YouTube. No, sorry, from Slido. Are there any prizes for the Cascade competition?
Okay, no, not this year. So this year we did not set up cash prizes. As I mentioned at the very beginning, we are in the let's say road to find sponsor for these prizes. Is mostly a bureaucratic reason, being as a public funded project, but the plan is for the feed campaign and the online campaign to leverage on sponsors and then give prizes either in kind or as cash. This year, the prize will be to be hosted and give a speech to the second ACRE workshop in February.
Nice. So there is another question for you. So can each challenger create its dataset with their own sensor, and afterwards the dataset will be labeled by the organizers?
That's a very good question. So let's say, in principle, the answer is yes, but it depends on how big is the dataset. So I'm pretty aware that labeling is a very costly process. So yes, during a field campaign, we are going to collect the data. And yes, we are going to label as the data for the competition. What I cannot promise right now is that you start collecting data at home and we will label them all. This is something I cannot commit today. But as I mentioned in my previous talk, we are really interested in being a collector of data and distributor of data. And for this, we are interested in either providing tool for labeling. The Diane software that Michelle was talking about is for easy labeling these images, or to label it for you. In this case, if we label it for you, basically we will be able also to issue a competition. So in short, yes, each challenger can create its data set with their own sensor provided to us, and we are going to label in case we want to build a cascade competition on it.
Thank you, Matteo. Another question. Does the computation have to be done on the robot, or can we use remote computation infrastructure?
So, okay, for the online competition, I think this is not a problem because everything is done on your premises, and we only want you to submit the final mask. For the field, so in a sense, you can use also the connection abroad, but we cannot provide you the connection. So in a sense, if your robot, let's say, connect to the cloud service to perform with the identification, then it gets the mask back, and then because of this, it's able to, let's say, destroy the weeds and the plant. For us, is not a problem. But you cannot ask us to provide the bandwidth and the connection, so you will have to set up the infrastructure by yourself. This is one of the things what we didn't thought about. That's why I say that we want to engage with you, because there might be subtle details or implementation details that we didn't thought about, and we would like this competition to be successful, and we would like to be this competition to be meaningful. I already noted down on my paper two interesting feedback, and we already gave you a preliminary answer. The first one, can we use multiple robots? Yes, why not? And the other one, can we use a cloud infrastructure? Yes, why not? But we have to sort out the details, because if you use multiple robots, we should structure the competition in order to let you do that. And if you want to use cloud or remote computing, we have to structure the infrastructure to do that. And this is something that we have to discuss about.
Thank you, Matteo. The last question. So regarding field campaigns, does the compute... No, sorry. Okay, we have already seen this one. So let me see if there are... Okay, no, it was the same. Yeah, it was edited by the author. So it was the yes to field campaigns, not to online campaign. So perfect. If there are not other questions, we can move to the final phase. So I can add all the speakers to the stream. So here we have again Michelle from INRE, also Giulio from the Polimi technical team, and Davide Facchinetti from Unimi. Guillaume has left us for his many work commitments as coordinator of the Metrics project. So there is a question. Can we pre-record the exact GPS positions for the navigation challenge?
The answer is yes, it will be possible, and perhaps also we have to decide, but it could be also possible to give the GPS coordinate of the band of the plantation to the teams, if they want to use it, if you want to use them. But if we give this kind of information, we give to all the participants after they will use or not, and they will give if they will give the information if they will or not our data that we put to their disposal.
I might intervene. So one of the things that we discussed during the setup of the competition is how much we should foster autonomy and how much the expected robot should be autonomous. What does it mean to be autonomous? In the sense to leverage with as much information that they can. I think that the more autonomous will be a robot in the future, the more we will see an advancement in the field. So what we would like to provide you is the exact GPS position of the starting and of the target. What we will not like to provide the teams is the trajectory the robot should follow, because we would like the robot not to be blindly following a set of GPS position. Another thing is that we would like to foster systems which have a rapid deployment. So basically, if for every treatment you have to record or pre-record a GPS trajectory, probably this will not be so cost effective, and this will not foster the easy adaptation of this tool. So the less information the farmer or the provider of the service provides the robot, the more successful is, in my opinion, the product. So if you just have to provide the robot the beginning and the end of the trade to follow, and then the robot does, is sustainable in terms of setup. If for any route you have to provide the exact route, well, it can be done, but it will be successful, for sure more costly in a sense than not giving it. That's my opinion.
Mm-hmm. But also teams can also decide to use not only GPS coordinate, they can use also some relative system if they want to progress in the field.
Okay.
And are there, I see a question about for the navigation field challenge, are we allowed to use RTK GPS? So yes. And is there any infrastructure like a base station? I think for Cordonera and Montel, we have some base station, and we will put some all the reference to be compatible with them. And we will give the information to the participant also.
Yeah, this does not mean that the participant will be allowed to map the field in advance with RTK GPS. So, for instance, for the mapping, I mean, you will not let access to the maps in advance. That's what we will do. But all these details is what we would like to engage discussing with you during the preparation of the launch. So in the next months, I would like to say that the evaluation plan you find on the website is not carved in stone. I mean, from now until February, we'll have time to discuss the rules. What we would like to do is to have a sort of co-design of the competition so that team will be able to show off, because I think that the best success will be having teams solving real challenges and showing what is the current state of this research. So again, if you, we are going to answer all the questions you want. I mean, we left a long discussion phase at the end of the workshop because of this, but it's not ended with this. After that, we will engage with you. We drop us an email, and we will be back with the information.
We can make a bilateral exchange between potential teams and organizer, and after we are going to also increase, Matteo, our evaluation plan and to make more and more precision about the condition and the frame.
So we have another question. Who can participate to the ACRE competitions? Students, companies, institutions?
Everyone.
Everyone, yeah.
Yes, correct, David. It is open to everyone. I mean, in my view, there is no reason to prevent any of these to participate, beside the logistic aspect. So we cannot host 1,000 participants. We would love to host 1,000 participants, but we are open to host as many possible team, and we will not prevent any of these categories to participate. Students are welcome. I've been working with students in competition for years, and I love it. Companies are welcome, for sure, and institution as well.
Matteo, perhaps the students are more involving and welcome in the Cascade challenge?
Yeah, yes.
It could be easier for them, no?
Yes, I think that the students can be involved at any stage, both physical and let's say Cascade. We know that for physical it has a cost, in a sense that you have to come, you have to bring your robot, you need a robot. But we don't prevent you to find your own budget and come. I mean, I think it's not prevented.
Indeed, one of the goals of this kind of project and of this kind of competition is also to act as a matchmaking event. So anyone can participate, and the competition can be a way to put people in contact, maybe researchers with companies, so to create liaison and make other things possible for the future.
Yeah. And perhaps also we can mention that the idea of metric challenge is to build some benchmark and to the European level about solution for weeding and so on, but to have a perennity and to be used after the end of the metrics, and to be a reference for the European and also in more general way. So it's also important to work together to build this reference, this relevant benchmark, and to have a well protocol established which can live after the end of the metrics. So I think it is important to capitalize in this way in our challenge metrics with organizer and with mainly the more important, the participant.
Yeah, indeed, someone on YouTube is saying that students have participated in many competitions for many years.
Yeah, I must say that I think that I don't have any problem, and I expect many students participate. What I would like to see are companies, because as Michelle has already said, we would like this to become a benchmark at the European level, and we would like to act as a matchmaking also between companies and students and researchers. I mean, in my experience with other competition where companies and students were there, at the end, the event turned out as a side, let's say, hiring fair, because company found very smart people they could hire and they could enroll, which were already motivated on the field. So I think it will be a great success if we have the two of them in the same place. And I mean, I'm pretty sure that companies will find the smartest talent in the field in this kind of competition.
Okay, thank you. Another question about the computation tasks. Is there a maximum duration that the system can take?
Well, it's not one of the criteria we are going to rank the teams at the beginning. So we understand that some of these tasks are very complex. Some of the tasks might require a little bit of time, but there is for sure a maximum time that the system can take in the long term to become a product and to become a real solution. So I think that as organizer of the competition, we will not stress too much the timing. We will put, let's say, a deadline, not to have one task to last for 3 hours. I mean, there will be, let's say, a deadline or a maximum allowed time, but this will be more for organizing the competition, not because we want you to be real time from competition one.
Yeah. To complete, Matteo, if we take the experience of in the Rose Challenge, for example, INRAE seed in the experimental field, the seed, the plant of interest, enfin, put the seed of the plant of interest, but also seed the weeds, okay, in order to have a control in the best control manner of the challenge. But okay, so we use the seeder, and after we say to all the participants, we seed the field experiment, okay. Now it is the T0 of the challenge. Now we are going to put in every day the temperature, the wet conditions, the moisture of the soil, and so on. And after, it's to you to decide when you want to make and to decide when you make to act in the field. And you have, for example, 2 weeks in order to visit the field experiment. So it's also to the responsibility, and I think it's very important to give the responsibility of the participant of the challenge team to decide when they want to do the job, and taking also into account of the stage of the growth of the weeds and of the crops. But in general, they want to make the job as soon as possible. But okay, it's another question, another point. But after, in the challenge roles, for example, it is very important to try to have in the same days all the teams. Okay, so you have 2 weeks, you can play, but after LNE and INRAE ask for the team to be present one day in common day in order to make evaluation to the same stage. Okay, so we have to manage with all that.
Yes, and indeed we cannot allow a team to stay for an entire day on the field. So computation is boxed. So let's say we don't have a maximum duration, but it will be time boxed.
Yeah, and after it depends. After for the weeding elimination, it depends of the techniques that they are going to use. If they use a mechanical system, okay, very quickly or the day after we can see the repercussion on the weeds. But if they want electrical system or laser or more new innovative technology, perhaps, and we come back after 1 week, 1 month in order to check the final result of the weeding process. So for the organizer, it is always a lot of job, a lot of work to do to carry the data, and also to give the best. The best quantification of the performance.
Perfect. If there are no other questions, we are approaching to the end. It's almost 2 hours that we are streaming. So let's see if there are some last questions. Okay, there is a question. I don't know if you have thought about creating virtual environments for the competition, simulating the location of the weeds within the fields.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I don't know if you want to take this, Michel, or
no, you can, Matteo.
So let's put it this way: it will be lovely, but it is a highly resource-demanding task on one end, and on the other end, to become really practice with respect to the final task, the simulation needs to be very, 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 let's say, accurate. So at the end, we decided not to do this, at least this time, let's put it this way, but we do not prevent people interested in providing a virtual environment to get in contact with us. When I said at the beginning, any stakeholder, and with stakeholder, I really think a person that need to have to do with this project, and maybe some simulation company, I know some of them very well, might be really interested in providing us the tool to share their tool with the teams. I don't prevent this, and we can even facilitate this. As a ACRE consortium, I'm sorry, we didn't thought about that, also because we thought that every team might have already its own tool, and accommodate for a tool that will work for everyone could have been difficult. But we are open to discuss about this in the next month. Probably not out of our lab right now.
Yeah, but it's very interesting, this question. And Matteo, we present that we have the TBM task benchmark crop mapping. So with our participation as organizer to have the truth map that we present just before in our slide. So with that, perhaps after we can engage also some aspect about the simulation with more numeric approach, but we have also to progress in the organization of the challenge. And we have also together another idea, but I don't know if we will be able to realize in the next 2 years. But could be also interesting to have a bench test, okay, in order to characterize various scenarios about to test the perception and the decision. Without to be able to go in the field, so it could be less heavy, and perhaps the first stage in order to qualify and with in a common pot, okay, the performances of perception and decision level system. After for the actuation for the active phase, it is more difficult after to have a solution, but we can also sort all together to that.
Thank you, Michel. Let's see if there are some last questions. No more questions, so I think we can close our workshop. I want to thank all the participants for being here, and don't forget to join our online competition. So thank you all for your attention. Thank all
you,
the
Ricardo.
speakers.
Thank you for hosting us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ricardo. It was perfect, Chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
see you. And if you want other information, let's get in contact right at acre.metricsproject.eu. So bye. See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye. Bye.